The first time it happens, you don't even register it as strange. You're standing in the beauty aisle at Trader Joe's, that narrow little strip wedged between the vitamins and the seasonal candles, and you pick up a jar out of pure boredom while your husband finishes the wine run. And it stops you because you read the ingredient list, and it's not the ingredient list of a $4 grocery store moisturizer. It's the ingredient list of something that should be sitting in a glass jar on a marble counter at Sephora with a ribbon on it. I have spent my career inside that industry. I have sat in formulation meetings in Seoul where we argued for 40 minutes about whether a serum needed 0.3% more Centella asiatica. I know what these ingredients cost wholesale. I know what a tub of cream is actually worth before anyone puts a label on it and decides to charge you rent for the privilege of believing in it. So when I tell you that beauty editors, people whose entire job is testing $200 creams, have been quietly filling their carts at Trader Joe's for years and not writing about it in the glossy magazines, I need you to believe me and stay with me, because the very last item on this list isn't a dupe at all. It's something Trader Joe's is doing that the luxury houses genuinely cannot touch at any price, and I am going to explain exactly why. Here is the one thing I want you to carry through every single item on this list, because it will reframe how you shop for the rest of your life. You are not actually paying for skincare when you buy skincare. You are paying for two completely separate things that have almost nothing to do with each other: the formula and the theater. The formula is chemistry, percentages, pH, delivery systems, the boring spreadsheet stuff that actually touches your face. The theater is everything else: the jar, the font, the 5-page magazine spread, the woman in the commercial who is 26 years old playing 40. In Korea, where I trained, the culture reads an ingredient list the way Americans read a nutrition label. First thing, no exceptions, before the box, before the brand, before any of it. That habit is the entire engine of this video. Once you start reading the list instead of the jar, you start noticing that a great deal of expensive theater is sitting directly on top of a very ordinary formula. And a surprising amount of ordinary looking theater, say a grocery store with fluorescent lighting and handwritten chalk signs, is quietly sitting on top of a genuinely excellent formula. Let's start the climb. Number 8 is the one that gets the most disbelieving comments whenever I bring it up. The Trader Joe's Daily Facial Sunscreen, SPF 40, the one in the matte squeeze tube. Here's why a $13 grocery store sunscreen belongs anywhere near a conversation about luxury skincare. Texture. That's it. That's the whole argument. And it's a bigger deal than it sounds. Most people don't skip sunscreen because they don't believe in it. They skip it because the good ones used to feel like a chalky mask, and the bad ones felt like a greasy mistake. This one goes on like nothing. Light, almost weightless, no white residue, which is precisely the texture profile that made a certain $40 primer sunscreen from a prestige sun care brand a cult object a few years back. I won't claim they're made in the same factory, because Trader Joe's keeps an iron grip on that information and nobody outside the company actually knows for certain. But the formula behavior is close enough that plenty of dermatology offices have quietly started recommending it as the "if you can't afford the fancy one, here's the next best texture option." And let me say this plainly, because I never want a video like this to talk you out of sunscreen as a punchline. This is the one product on the list where the protection itself matters more than the price comparison. Buy whichever sunscreen you'll actually wear every day. This one just happens to make that easy at a price that removes the excuse entirely. Number 7, and this one made me sit up the first time I tried it. The marula oil, $7, in a small amber dropper bottle that looks almost apologetic next to what it's sitting beside on the shelf. Marula oil on its own is not some hidden secret. It's a beautiful, lightweight facial oil high in oleic acid that absorbs without leaving you looking like you just finished a workout. What makes this one worth a slot is the comparison that beauty editors mutter about and almost never put in writing. This same oil, marketed by a far more famous clean beauty brand built on African sourced oils, retails for roughly 4 to 5 times the price, in a bottle holding less product. I'm not telling you the famous brand is doing anything dishonest. Sourcing, story, and brand building cost real money, and that's a legitimate expense. I am telling you that the oil itself, the molecule sitting on your skin, doesn't know which bottle it came from. Pat it on after cleansing, not rubbed in like a body lotion. Oil sinks in better with patting than friction. And you've essentially recreated a $60 step in your routine for the cost of a coffee. Number 6 is a strange one to put on a list like this because it's not glamorous at all. It's the all-in-one facial cleanser, the fragrance-free one in the unremarkable bottle that nobody photographs for Instagram. Here's why it earns its place. It does almost nothing. And that is precisely the point. A huge percentage of expensive cleansers are oversold. Foaming agents, extra fragrance, detoxifying claims that mean very little for a product you rinse off in 30 seconds. The honest truth, which Korean skincare culture has understood for decades through the principle of gentle, low friction double cleansing, is that a cleanser's whole job is to remove the day without stripping the skin barrier underneath it. This one is plain, it's gentle, it's genuinely fragrance free rather than unscented with a masking fragrance hidden in the ingredient list. Read the fine print on your current cleanser and you may be surprised. And dermatologists recommend it for sensitive and reactive skin specifically because it refuses to do anything dramatic. It is the unsexiest item on this list, and the one I'd actually argue you need least to change. Number 5 brings us to the Watermelon Glow Overnight Mask. And this is where the comparisons get almost uncomfortable. Trader Joe's launched this jelly-textured overnight mask, and within weeks, social media had drawn a direct line to a specific, very famous Korean American beauty brand's watermelon sleeping mask. The one with the glass jar, the pink lid, the brand built almost entirely around the watermelon glow concept as its signature. That brand's version runs somewhere in the high 30s. Trader Joe's version runs under $10. Now, and this is important, because I never want a Korean ingredient story to get romanticized past what it actually is. Watermelon extract itself isn't some miracle compound. Its real selling point is hydration and a pleasant, dewy finish, not some transformative active. What you're actually paying that $30 premium for, in both versions, is mostly water, glycerin, and a very good marketing team. Korea trained the world to want glass skin. It did not invent a monopoly on how to achieve it. Number 4 is where the ownership story gets interesting, because this is the moment the format earns its name, the corporate reveal that makes you look at your bathroom shelf differently. The triple antioxidant serum, around $11, has been compared online, item by item, to a specific $100 antioxidant serum from a luxury dermatology brand. Same core actives, similar concentration ranges, a near identical bottle silhouette. Here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. A former dermatology office employee, someone who actually sold the $100 version professionally, said publicly that the Trader Joe's version was strikingly close. Luxury really is an illusion, were her words. And I happen to agree with her completely. I want to be careful here because I will not tell you Trader Joe's and $100 dermatology brand share a parent company. They don't, and I won't manufacture a connection that isn't real just to make the moment land harder. What I will tell you is that the formulation similarity alone, confirmed by someone who's handled both professionally, is one of the most quietly repeated facts in the entire beauty editor world. They know. They just don't put it in the magazine because the magazine is partly funded by the $100 brand's advertising budget. Number three is the retinol night serum. And this is the one I genuinely want you to slow down for. Because retinol is not a category where close enough is automatically a compliment. At 0.3% retinol, this $10 serum sits at a genuinely entry level, gentle concentration, which is frankly exactly where most retinol beginners should start, rather than reaching for something stronger and burning their barrier in week one. A dermatology office worker again drew the direct comparison. She said this formula reminded her closely of a roughly $70 0.3% retinol serum her own office used to sell. Here is your one concrete reason this earns the slot over flashier retinol products. Concentration, math doesn't lie. 0.3% of an active ingredient costs the same to manufacture, whether it's sitting in a $10 bottle or a $70 one. The $70 version is not buying you more retinol. It's buying you a heavier glass jar and a dermatologist name on the label. Patch test it regardless of price, the way you'd patch test any retinol. That caution belongs to the ingredient, not the brand. Number two, and we are getting close to the top now, is the Ultra Hydrating Gel Moisturizer, $9. The one shoppers keep filming themselves switching out for a $30 Clinique cult classic. Side by side, the ingredient decks are remarkably aligned. Aloe leaf juice, green tea, sodium hyaluronate doing the heavy lifting on hydration. A gel cream texture built for layering under makeup without pilling. The Clinique version has decades of brand equity behind it. That product has been a fixture on department store counters since before a lot of us started doing skincare seriously at all. And brand history is worth something real to people who value it. But hold on to this thread, because it pays off in a second. This is the second item on this list compared specifically to a major department store hydration staple, and that pattern is not a coincidence. It tells you something true about the entire prestige hydration category. That gel moisturizer with hyaluronic acid and soothing botanicals is a formula type, not a proprietary secret, and grocery store chemists know the recipe just as well as the department store ones do. And now, the top of the list, the one I promised you at the very start, wasn't actually a dupe at all. Number one is the entire existence of this beauty aisle, full stop. And let me explain exactly what I mean. Because it's not a cop-out, it's the real twist. Every other item on this list works because a Trader Joe's product successfully imitates a more expensive one. This last entry is different. Trader Joe's negotiates directly with manufacturers, cutting out the layers of distributors, brand marketing budgets, and retail middlemen that inflate almost every other product on this list. And it does so at a margin structure no prestige beauty house, Korean or Western, will ever be able to match, because their entire business model depends on charging you for the theater. Trader Joe's literally cannot sell you the theater. They don't run beauty ad campaigns. They don't pay celebrities. Their entire brand identity is built on having no brand identity at all. Hand-lettered chalk signs instead of glossy spreads, which means the one thing they're structurally incapable of doing is the one thing every prestige beauty brand is built around. That's not an accident. That's the business model working exactly as designed. And it's the closest thing in American retail to the Korean approach of letting the formula speak before the packaging does. Your skin was never asking for the jar. It was only ever asking for the formula. So, how do you actually use all of this instead of just nodding along and forgetting it by Thursday? First, read ingredient decks before you read price tags every single time in every store, not just this one. That habit alone will save you more money over your lifetime than any single product on this list. Second, when you find a product you love at any price point, don't assume loyalty to the brand name. Assume loyalty to the formula and go looking for cheaper versions of that exact formula before you repurchase out of habit. Third, patch test new actives regardless of price. A $10 retinol can irritate you exactly as easily as a $100 one. Cost has never once correlated with how your particular skin barrier will react. And fourth, the one small Korean technique that costs nothing and changes everything. Apply thin to thick. Whatever you buy, whether it's from this list or not, your lightest, most watery products go on first, your heaviest creams go on last, and you let each one sink in for a moment before the next. That single layering habit will make a $9 gel moisturizer perform like a much more expensive one because it's finally being given the chance to actually absorb instead of fighting 6 other products for space on your skin. Now, a few honest notes, because I'd rather you hear them from me than discover them yourself and feel misled. Trader Joe's inventory rotates constantly and varies by region. What's sitting on the shelf in one store this month may be gone by next season. So treat this list as a map of what to look for, not a guaranteed shopping list you can walk in and check off item by item. Trader Joe's is famously secretive about who actually manufactures its private label products. So when I say a formula resembles a famous one, I mean exactly that. A resemblance often confirmed by people who've worked with both, not a confirmed shared factory or a documented corporate relationship. I won't invent a connection just because it would make a better story. And please don't let any dupe conversation talk you out of sunscreen specifically. That's the one category here where consistency matters infinitely more than which bottle you chose. So pick the one you'll actually use every single day and don't skip it because you're holding out for a better dupe to go viral. Here's the bigger thing I want you to leave with, because it's bigger than 8 products and a grocery store. The entire beauty industry has spent decades training you to believe that expense is a proxy for efficacy, that you can trust a product because it costs enough to hurt a little. Trader Joe's didn't break that rule by accident. They broke it because their business has no incentive to maintain the illusion in the first place. They're not a beauty company pretending to sell groceries cheap. They're a grocery company that happened to notice nobody was reading the ingredient list and decided to give people the formula without charging them for the myth around it. The brands you've been loyal to for 20 years aren't necessarily lying to you, but they are, almost all of them, selling you 2 products in one bottle, and only one of those products ever actually touches your face. Your skin only ever wanted the formula. It never once asked for the jar. Tell me in the comments which one of these you've quietly already been buying. And be honest, which brand on your bathroom shelf right now are you finally ready to stop overpaying for once you've read this? If this is the kind of thing you want more of, ingredient lists decoded, ownership stories untangled, the real chemistry behind the marketing, subscribe to Korean Room because that is the entire promise of this channel. I tell you what's actually in the jar. Next time, I'm pulling apart the Korean skincare aisle itself because some of those brands are playing the exact same ownership games we just uncovered here, and you deserve to know which ones.